Happy Sunday, everybody. It feels so good to be back. Yes, one Sunday away. Chaos ensued. Cliff took over my show, brought it to his channel, which I appreciate. Thank you so much, Cliff. Nothing but love. But no, it was a good time. If you guys missed it, go check out Cliff, support him, subscribe to his channel. But feels good to be back, guys. A lot has happened within the 2 weeks. Just this week, there's a lot of news to go through, a lot of sales. There's big sales that took place this week. Many interesting ones, and I feel like tonight's guest just couldn't be any better to come and discuss some of these things with me. Guys, I've had the opportunity and privilege to join, obviously, the crew over at Covrprice. You got Laura, you've got Marty, who I love dearly, you've got Gabe, you got JB, but Chris. I'm going to say it while he's not on screen because he may shed a tear. So let's keep him backstage just for a minute. But if there's anybody I've bonded with, the guy loves literally everything I love when it comes to music, when it comes to video games, when it comes to comics. And he's one of the most informative guys out there. So for tonight, guys, please, let's give him a round of applause. Let's welcome Chris. Chris, where you at, sir? How you doing?
Man, I do not know if I can live that up, Lando. Man, you're selling me hard.
No, dude, it's facts. It's facts. In fact, you managed to even keep us in check on the show because you bring the knowledge. You bring a lot of information. I've literally sat through shows, although we are all giving our perspectives on shows over on Covrprice. You really sometimes have me sitting there learning, and I'm like, wow. You pull up some of these variants, you pull up some of these just perspectives and like information regarding books that I'm like, holy crap, man, he really brought that to the table tonight. That was amazing. And you always do.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, 10,000 hours to be an expert at anything, right? And I still don't know enough to call myself an expert. I'm just a geek who's happy to be here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're here for. We're here to talk comics to geeks. Although, yes, well, we get a little rowdy, I guess we could say, on Thursday nights. I get the opportunity to hang out with you once. So the fact I get to hang out with you twice this week means I had a great week. That's the way I see it. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, man, Thursday nights, you joined Covrprice relatively right before me, right? You've been doing this.
Yeah, so it was weird how it happened. Like, okay, so I've been watching Lords for a while, like years, right?
Yeah.
And I reached out to TiVo because they kept on making the bingo jokes, and I was like, retraining myself on Python, the scripting language, because I need to keep myself current and stuff like that. I work in the IT world, and I'm at the managerial level at this point in my career. I'm like in charge of people and things, so I don't really get to get my hands dirty. So to keep myself current, I will force myself to do projects and things like that. So I gave myself a mission. I'm like, hey, in 2 weeks, I want to create a bingo card for Lords of the Longbox. And I want to do it so it's on a website. And I chose Python because it had been a while since I've dabbled in Python and CSS and HTML. And I used to build websites for fun long time ago. I mean, the yo-yo skills right here, right? This was my website in the early 2000s. And it was the biggest yo-yo website in the world. We had over 1 million hits a month, which is a lot in 2005 time. And I had articles. I was a content creator. I was like an ambassador for the industry that is yo-yo. And it had been a long time since I'd done anything like that. So I'm like, I'm just going to build it. And I'm going to send it to TiVo. We'll see what he thinks. And I had like talked with TiVo very briefly on Instagram here and there, right? Mm-hmm. But never really long conversations. And so I messaged TiVo. I'm like, hey, I just built this for you. If you could think of more ideas for tiles, we can have it so like every card is different and it's randomly generated, and you could track as you go. And it was just for fun, right? So I sent him that, and he just thought it was like awesome. And he shared it on his Instagram before it was ready to go. And I'm like, oh no, I really got to finish this now. I'm like banging away at it. And then I found out like 3 days later, he passed away.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man. So I reached out to Marty, and I first started talking with Marty and JB, and I'm like, hey guys, listen, I finished this for TiVo. He was really excited by it, and I finished this for him. If you guys want to use it, I'm going to make it available to you, whatever you need, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you need, I want to support, help. I will help you guys run the memorial show. I'll offer IT help. I'll edit stuff for you. I'll do photos for you, whatever you need. Because I'm like a foot deep, mile wide when it comes to IT stuff. I can do a little bit of everything: video editing, Photoshop, and I'm not really good at any of it.
No. I learned the hard way. You're good at video editing on Thursday.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, you are the most interesting man in the world. So, so I just made myself available to them, and then they pulled me into the group chat, and then just like one day, JB was like, hey, we need a third, otherwise it's just gonna be Marty and I. And I'm like, I'll do it. And they're like, okay, great. And that was my first time, and it had been, oh my god, like 14 15 years since I had done anything on YouTube, really.
Yeah.
And I used to do tons of yo-yo stuff. I mean, I ran the Yo-Yo State Championship in California for 5 years. I was really big into, I was a content creator. I had YouTube, I had Twitter, I had Instagram. I was all over the place. But once I adopted my boys, you know, when I went from 1 kid to 3 kids, when I adopted my 2 boys,
Yeah.
and you know, the older of the 2 has got special needs, so that just took all my time and my focus.
Of course,
so,
family first.
Yeah, and so I did that, and like I did the show, and it felt so natural, it felt so good that they just kept on inviting me back. So pretty soon I'm just, you know, part of the Lords. And then you came on, and it's like, dude, you're my Canadian brother. You know, one of the main differences is that you got the musical talent and I didn't.
Yeah, hey, I can't put my yo-yo to sleep if my life depended on me. I put myself to sleep very well. Let me tell you that. But yeah, dude, you know what? It's neat to hear this story because, you know, I hopped on to Covrprice and joined the crew, but hearing your story, it's honestly it's moving because unfortunately, yeah, it is true. I also had very short talks with TiVo. It was mostly like over a post, or it might be a happy birthday or whatever. It was very small talk, and then when that happened, I was kind of like taken back. And it's one of the things to this day. I've told you guys backstage, but every single week, it's something that plays over in my head. Is I wish I got to collaborate with him on a stream, because that's one thing, unfortunately, is never going to happen. But you know, I'm blessed to have met you guys. It was kind of the same thing for myself. It wasn't due to video editing or anything. It was really just Laura reaching out, giving me the opportunity, and I couldn't be happier to be part of the team and have met you.
I'm happy she found you, man, because you bring a great aspect to the show, and it's, you know, it's good. A 4-person panel in my mind is like the perfect combo. Here's one more crazy thing about Tim, though. So I went to high school in Tustin, California, and I shopped at Comics, Tunes, and Toys, Mike's shop down in Tustin. That was my LCS back in, you know, from 1994 to 1998. I had no idea, but Tim is from that same area, and he also shopped at Comics, Tunes, and Toys and knew Mike and the owners there. So he and I had this like overlap that I never even knew about until after he passed on. And I saw Mike was in the chat, in that group chat for the memorial. I'm like, dude, Mike, it's Chris, man. I'm that annoying teenager who kept on, trying to wheel and deal with you for comic books back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was a pain in the butt. So, Mike, if you ever watch this, I'm really sorry, man. But yeah, I was a really annoying teenager. But I mean, yeah, it's just like it was crazy. There's so much overlap, and then I had no idea until much later on. So it's crazy.
Yep. It is funny. I guess that's now you figured out who was stealing those key books from under your nose, right? At the same time. But yeah, man, it's thank you for sharing these stories, man. And these are the talks that I genuinely always enjoy and I look forward to. I feel like Thursdays come and go rather quick, and we don't get to do this. So the fact you're on here tonight, ready to talk comics, talk everything geek related. We're even going to talk this at one point, guys.
Yes,
we're going to get into that, but hang tight. There's a lot to discuss. Now, I don't know what is going on, so I apologize. As you guys can see here, do you guys see the chat? I'm not seeing some of your comments, so I'm just showing you guys. The chat is kind of like frozen on my end, so I apologize if I'm not pulling up any of your comments, but I do see you guys. I see you all in the chat. There you go. I see very few coming through, but I also know on the live side, because I kind of see that too, there's a lot of comments coming in. So a lot of love to you guys. We genuinely greatly appreciate you all being here. So shout out to everybody. Not sure why it's bugging, so I apologize for not pulling up some of your comments, but Chris, we are going to get into it. So hi to the chat. I'm sorry it's not the typical individual hi as we do every week, but we're just going to jump right into the show, and we're going to kick it off with FOC. So Chris, in typical Degeneration X fashion, are you ready?
What's that? I said, are you ready?
We're totally nerds. We're totally nerds. Let's get it. All right, guys, we're going to get into the FOC picks in just a second. Now, for the FOC, I want to just show you guys rather quickly. It is for the week of November 25th. That's right, selected by our brother Lefteros, who also has his awesome articles up on Covrprice. So you can go and check those out at any point. Now, if you live in the United States and you see any books on these lists that you would like to order, go visit comicnation.us. They already have 15% off of the cover price, but you can get yourself an additional 5% off by using discount code Black Crown. Hold up, Canada. We also have Comic Legion. There you go. So if you're in Canada, it's already 20% off of the cover price. You can get an additional 5% off if it is your first order. Just use discount code ENLIST to get yourself an additional 5. Now, disclaimer, Chris, unfortunately, we got to put it out there. We're not telling you to buy every single book on this list. No, we're just giving you the information that is shared with us by Lefteros. So,
interesting things to consider while you are pre-ordering your books.
Exactly. That's all it is.
And these aren't stock tips, right? You're not going to go, this isn't Bitcoin advice. We're not going to sell you NFTs. These are just interesting things that we may or may not agree upon as books to order, or just to keep in mind if you are a fan.
There you have it. Now, they're going to kick it off with the first book, which is Cable, Love and Chrome, issue number 1. Here we have the main cover, and apparently there's likely the first appearance of Resistance leader Avery Ryder. So that's pretty interesting. Now, Cable being back. I love the vintage font on Cable at the top. It feels 90s. Does it not?
It does feel 90s. And look at all those pockets. I mean, the man is ready for a hike. There's no doubt about it.
Clearly. Guys, I'm so devastated. To the live chat, I'm going to apologize again. I'm not seeing your comments. This is the only way I see it. Unfortunately, it's frozen, but we appreciate you guys. I see you on a different scale, so I will reach out to you guys and comment afterwards. So, Cable, Love and Chrome number 1, but moving on, we also have Detective Comics issue 1092. Now, if you've been reading some of Detective Comics, I wasn't, but I'm getting caught up. And apparently, here we're going to have the first full appearance and cover of Azima revealed in this book. So, as of late, where we've been seeing a little bit of teasing going on, here we're going to get the first full. As you can see, the character seemingly at the top right there. Interesting character. Yes, I do want to put it out there, guys. It's a female. Don't freak out. But some people have mistaken it as a man for some reason, and we've yet to see the character. So I just want to put it out there. But there you go. First appearance. Are you reading Detective Comics, Chris?
I'm not, but whenever you have a new character introduced in a major book like Batman, you gotta, or Detective Comics for that matter, you gotta take a look. You gotta evaluate: is the story good? Who's the writer? Because the writer can make or break a character story, and that you got to take those into consideration. I don't know anything about what's going on in the Batman comics right now. I got a little burned out right around the Three Jokers storyline.
Yeah,
So I took kind of a break, but if this is a good character and the writer is doing the Batman justice, then it may be worth just snagging. I mean, what's like $4.99? The risk is low.
exactly. And look, we've seen many characters come into play, of course, within Batman, within Detective Comics. Character seems pretty interesting, so I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for this and checking this one out. Now, up next, guys, we have Metamorpho. The Element Man, number 1, cover A, first appearance of Mr. 3 within this book. What a interesting cover to begin with. I think the cover is pretty interesting. I don't know what you feel about this.
Metamorpho is one of those characters that it's just, he's been around for a really long time. And if you go look at like the 1960s books that he was in,
Yeah.
the covers are so wild and so interesting. And it's like, what is going on with this character? But yeah, it's kind of like he's part like a Mazo, part Plastic Man, part wisecracking, part serious, part Element Man. I mean, it's so weird. It's like, dude, pick a lane. Don't be such a Mary Sue. But I mean, yeah, whatever. If you're a fan, then this may be the reboot that you're looking for. I mean, it's number 1, so that usually means new writer, new way forward.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with you when it comes to Metamorpho being one of those very interesting characters. No, I don't have the video. I'm not playing that video about myself, but yeah, it's a very interesting character, and I agree with you about the stay in one lane type thing, right? Try to pick a lane as to what it is.
I do like the fact that you have the periodic table behind him in the background. I think that's interesting.
It is a neat touch, and it's a good eye, man. You have a really good eye, Chris. Love it. But all right, let's move on because a big book. New Champions, number 1, main cover right here, and likely the first appearance of the unnamed Wakandan new champion, first team appearance of the new champions, and the Cult of Hela. Now, there's been nothing but hype when it comes to these characters because, yes, once upon a time, we were getting these new champions on variant covers that were dropping by Marvel as early as last year. We saw so many of these characters take off as of late. Now we have the opportunity to finally see this, group of characters come together. At the bottom, it says they're apparently change the world. We shall see. I'm picking this up. It's pretty much a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in it for new characters, right? If you're in it for new stories, this is gonna be the first culmination of these characters as a team, right? Now, I'm ashamed to say I'm looking at this. I know that one of those is the new Sentry.
Yeah.
And I can guess by the artistic styles of the costumes. I know that one of them is the new Ghost Rider. I couldn't tell you who the others are. I don't know. I mean, this is we see this all the time in comics, right? Characters are rebooted, are reintroduced, reimagined in different ways. Sometimes as the child or like relative of a major character, and then introduced into a team. And it's all about representation, and that's fine because the comic industry isn't just for old nerds like you and I. Well,
Yeah.
like me. It's for everybody, and you got to get those new readers on board. So if this gets a new reader on board, that's awesome. And there is one thing that's interesting. Cult of Hela sounds like an amazing villain group. Just the name alone, and knowing what I know about Hela, the character, that could be incredible. So yeah, it might be worth a chance.
Absolutely. Now, as you were mentioning some of these characters, as you can see, some of them we've seen already on top 10 lists over on Covrprice and multiple other platforms, whether it be CBSI, Key Collector, etc. Phantasma being a big one. But I will keep this rolling, guys, because it doesn't just end here with the cover A. Of course not. We have the 1 in 100 incentive. Chris, meet Amaranth.
Okay. So Amaranth is she supposed to be like a Scarlet Witch type of character?
Exactly. In fact, if you have been reading Scarlet Witch, you would have been introduced already.
Okay, so the purple energy is what clued me in. So I mean, Art Germ does amazing work, right? Beautiful cover, beautiful art, and yeah, this is would this be Amaranth's first virgin cover?
First virgin cover? I don't believe so either.
Okay.
It could be. I'm trying to think if there was another virgin, an incentive. Not sure. She has been on previous covers on Scarlet Witch as well. We just got one. I believe it was last week. But yeah, no, there's clearly a beautiful cover here in front of us. Now I know some people don't want to pay that 1 in 100 incentive price tag, so I don't blame you.
Well,
But
I mean, you got Art Germ and a 1 to 100 incentive. Those two combinations is a money book. So
yeah,
no doubt about it.
yeah, guys, quick second to shout you all out. I see you in the chat. I see Alex, Infamous Jeb, Chia Pet, Derek, Amadi. I see Cliff. I see all of you. I saw Michael Schwartz, who is the writer on Armored right now. If you guys haven't heard, Armored has done very well, sold out over on Previews World for issue 4. So congratulations to Michael Schwartz. But Michael saying he actually picked up the first appearance of Metamorpho for his father, which is amazing. So that's cool, man.
That is so cool.
I saw him holding an AF-15 with his dad. That's my Grail book of all time, the all-time Grail book for me. So it's awesome to see that relationship they have. But let's move on because we have Ultimates, issue number 8. Here's the main cover. First team appearance of the Earth 6160 Guardians of the Galaxy that has on this roster. You have Ultimate Nullifier. You got Star-Lord. You got Cosmo. The dog is there. That's right. That's Cosmo, guys. And Captain Marvel. So very interesting team. The Ultimates has been a great read. I'm fully on board the Ultimate Universe, as you guys are aware by now. Some titles a little lesser when it comes to X-Men. Black Panther is up and down for me. The Ultimates is a really, really fun read. I definitely want to meet this group of Guardians of the Galaxy. So this is a pickup.
Yeah, for the Ultimate Universe, I am mostly staying in the Spider-Man lane because that I think that's a book that really speaks to me. I mean, I've always been a really big Spider-Man fan. I was always a huge fan of the Ultimate Spider-Man back when it first came out. And a lot of people give Bendis crap, but I really like Bendis's work on Ultimate Spider-Man. This Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe, for me, like he's a husband and a parent, and he's just trying to make it all work together, and that really speaks to me, man. That's
all of us.
That is just that comic is not meant for teenage, new readers. That comic is meant for old geeks like me. So
absolutely, that's exactly who it's targeting. Look, you can relate to Spider-Man just on the fact that we made tonight work. You understand? With families. So
right.
in fact,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
All my kids are in bed or entertained. I had to make sure that was in place before I logged in.
Exactly. That's the only way we can make these things happen, guys. But let's keep it rolling because we have Uncanny X-Men, issue number 8. Here you have the main cover, and it's going to be the conclusion of Raid on Grey Malkin. It's 4-part crossover. Look,
are you reading this?
I'm behind on Uncanny X-Men. Now, I gotta say the first couple issues were kind of Eh. That's just my perspective, my opinion, guys. To each their own. Some of you I know are heavily enjoying this, but for myself, it's kind of taking the back seat. So
So
I don't
there's
know. I
a
might
couple
pass on
things.
this. I
Yeah.
may regret it. We shall see. But hoping that stories pick up a little more for myself.
So I'm on the third book. I'm in the middle of the third book right now.
Yeah.
And you know what Gray Malkin is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Xavier Institute.
Hmm.
So they came in, they stripped the Xavier Institute, which that it was the schoolhouse for mutants, and now it's a prison. They turned
Yeah.
it into a prison. Um, and the first couple of issues were there were like I really liked the writing on Rogue, probably some of the best writing on Rogue that I've seen lately.
Yeah.
You got the Aya, another Eye of Agamotto, because I guess nobody ever figured out that, hey, most beings have two eyes. Doctor Strange has the Eye of Agamotto. What
Yeah.
about the other eye? Well, now Gambit's got it, right?
Yep.
So that's interesting. You got the Hag, which is beast enough to take Wolverine and put him down to just a few heartbeats left. There's some good story here, but there is a little bit of a weird writing thing going on with some of the characters that I'm having a hard time with.
So that's what I'm getting at. Is I feel like there's a disconnect between myself and a good portion of what's taking place. The story itself, the main parts are good. They're good, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of loose ends that are just like it drags on some of the issues, right? And I think that's what I'm feeling as I'm reading Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, you got what's that character's name? The dude without a heart. It's like I don't understand what. So he doesn't have a heart. So how does that make him stronger? It's just too many like. Okay, I'm trying to
Yeah.
believe, and it's just making it hard. But there are other elements of it that I really do like. That I find the whole concept of turning Xavier Mansion into a prison, I think that's brilliant. I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever been done before, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when you look at this character. Right, that's front and center.
Mhm.
I see wings, kind of. I see like a Juggernaut style helmet. I
Yep.
don't know.
That
Could
way.
be anybody.
Yep. Agreed. I will say I agree with Chiapet when it comes to the fact that Gambit is awesome again. He really is. Yeah.
And I didn't know this, but Rogue has control of her power now.
Yep.
So that's interesting as well.
Yep. Very true. Yep. But anyways, let's keep it rolling because up next, yes, guys, if you haven't been keeping up, What If has been bringing Disney characters into superheroes. That's right. The superheroes we've grown to love are also Mickey Mouse characters. But anyways, Mickey and friends became the Fantastic Four. Yeah, what if that ever happened? Introduction of Disney characters as the Fantastic Four. These are just fun covers, fun stories, guys. Don't make anything of it. Don't get crazy.
I'm a sucker for these. I mean,
Same, dude. I've
I picked up every single one so far. All the Spider-Man variant covers that had weird book covers, and I love them. I love them all.
same.
I'm a real sucker for them. This was on my FOC pre-order along with all the variant covers that came with it.
It's funny you mentioned that, and shout out to Michael Baker because Michael Baker actually sent me as an AOK. Dude lives in the States. Sent it to me for my kids. He sent two 9.8s of that Mickey ASM 300 homage. So
Wow.
each of my boys have one up in their room. It's just awesome. I enjoy this, right? I set these aside for the kids, and it is what it is. Just take it for what it is, guys. Don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy. But anyways, you want to talk crazy? Look at this cover, man. This is a total cover grab for myself. Red Coat issue number 8. Although I say cover grab, I suggest people start getting into reading Red Coat. Negative space cover depiction by Brad Walker and Brad Anderson. Now, again, I'm still a bit behind. The Ghost Machine universe is just incredible. It's ever growing, ever rapidly. There's so much happening within the universe. So here you go. Beautiful cover. Great book. No brainer.
I like negative space covers. You know, I like that. That the other colors pop and the prime color gets washed. I dig it. So I see what the artist is doing here. I like it. I have no idea what's going on in the story. It's not a book that I read.
Yeah, I know you have not been fully familiar with the Ghost Machine stuff, but after the show, if you'd like, we can run through it, baby. We can run through it. Let's keep it rolling, because we were talking about Ultimates 8 before, but look at this 1 in 25 incentive as well. Like, it's really nice. Like I said, I'm excited to see the new lineup of Guardians of the Galaxy within Ultimates, but neat cover. I kind of feel it doesn't give me that 1 in 25 feeling though, right?
Who's the character in the upper right hand corner there?
I believe it's like Luke Cage or something.
Is it really?
It gives me the Luke Cage
Looking
vibe.
like, looking like any extra in a Rob Liefeld book in the 90s. I mean, just really trying to make that bare chested robe thing work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, anyways, I can make fun of this for a little while with the character, but Sarah Pacelli doing Sarah Pacelli things. It is a beautiful cover, like I
Oh
said.
yeah, the art's great. I don't know anything what's happening, what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Leftero's bringing up a great point, saying we don't often see new Ultimates characters on the respective 1 in 25. So the fact that we're seeing, the lineup here on a ratio, it's pretty neat. So
Yeah, I dig that. I could see that.
exactly. But anyways, let's keep it rolling, because up next, this is something I am super excited about. What if Galactus transformed Gambit #1? And we also have What if Galactus transformed Hulk #1? Both of them on FOC. I think this is just going to be wild, especially when it comes to the Hulk. I think Gambit's going to surprise us the way they might write this. But these two are the main covers. I will say, though.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Stephen Platt. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Hands down, winner.
So I pre-ordered all three of these. I mean, Stephen Platt, going all the way back to Prophet days in the mid '90s, the dude's got some muscles. Every one of his characters got the muscles. So yeah, definitely Stephen Platt. You got to pick up that cover. Yeah. I have this. One of the things that I have from a Comic Con is I met Stephen Platt, and it's funny because my friend who was an artist had to tell me, Chris, don't call him Splat. I'm like, oh, he signed the name Splat, and so no, Chris, don't call him Splat. I'm like, okay, but he was really nice, and he gave me like this like backboard, right? The comic backboard that he had scribbled on while he was trying to get his pens working, that has his signature on it like 15 times. So I have like a 15 times signed Stephen Platt backboard.
Hey, I'll take that. But yeah, no, that's awesome. And Platt doing amazing work here with Galactus. I think this cover is just absolutely insane. Yeah. I will shout out to Ryan Brown, because his cover as well for this What If Galactus Transformed the Hulk is gorgeous covers. Platt is hands down my favorite, and yes, just like Chris, I pre-ordered all three. So there you go. Now we are in the holiday season, and Chrissy Zulo's doing her thing, and here we've got some holiday variants as well. So as you can see, you got Harley Quinn, you got Flash, you got Superman. A lot of these Zulo covers are going to be hitting shelves within these upcoming weeks. We've already seen some previous ones. I really like the Green Lantern one that was a few weeks ago. They're all going to be coming out real soon, so I imagine everybody's in the holiday spirit. They might be into some of these covers.
I mean, I would buy these as Hallmark cards. I don't know about comics.
Yeah, dude, I totally understand. It would make great Hallmark cards. I will give you that. I think this should happen. Zulo, get on this.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Have a super Christmas, or the Flash would be speed along this to the new year or something like that. I mean, come on. It writes itself.
Yeah, pretty much, and they're really neat. Now I cannot help but wish that they end up being Christmas cards, because that would be fantastic. But anyways, let's move on from these awesome Winter Wonderland variants because we have Amazing Spider-Man issue 61. The 8 deaths of Spider-Man are continuing because here, as you can see, the Daily Bugle newspaper is about to crush Spider-Man. as
Yeah, and
this
the
being
main story is a Doc Ock story.
yeah, I love that. I love that. It's such a fine detail. Scotty Young doing great things. They've been fun covers so far. Everything we've seen related to the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man by Scotty Young are just neat covers. Scotty Young killing it here, and of course now you have it in a 1 in 25 ratio, which is a virgin. So it's cool,
Yeah.
man.
The one that I picked up was the one of him in a jar. I like that one. There's one where he's like in a jar, like you would catch a spider and put it into a jar. That's when I
saw
picked
that.
up. I couldn't get this one in time. This one sold out at my LCS.
Well, this one here is still on FOC, so you can get it if you would like.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. But anyways, we'll keep it rolling because Star Trek Defiant issue 22 has a 1 in 10 incentive. The variant covered by Takashi Okazaki did great work. The Vision books that just came out not too long ago. I love the covers. Absolutely love the covers. I don't know if I'm going to be picking this up. I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. So yeah, on that sake, it's a pass. But for the sake of cover, I think this is gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean the Klingon looks badass there. I'll say that the art's really clean. I really dig it. If you're a Star Trek fan, then this is the book that you probably want to get. And it looks way better than the other covers, the regular covers.
Yep. Leftero's going back to the Zulu holiday covers. He brings up a good point because, yeah, the Halloween covers that Zulu did were wonderful. I got myself quite a few, and they are almost nearly impossible to find if you want to pick it up off the shelf at cover price. So if you are hoping to do so, who knows? You never know when it comes to the holiday covers. But Star Trek Defiant issue 22, beautiful Okazaki cover for Star Trek Defiant 22. But speaking beautiful covers, you got Daredevil Unleash Hell Red Band, issue number 1. This is the 1 in 100 incentive Magic Virgin cover depiction by Joshua Swaby. Did I say magic? I don't think it's magic. It's Electra.
Yeah, I am interesting. It's definitely Electra. I wonder if magic is. I mean, I know you have the character magic, but I wonder if that's like a style or something. Maybe it's just a typo.
Yeah.
But yeah, here you got Electra. You got people who are Electra fans, people who are Daredevil fans. Daredevil Unleash Hell Red Band. Okay, that sounds like a lot more of a raw style Daredevil. When I think of good Daredevil stories, I think of the Kevin Smith run. I think of the Frank Miller run. Those are kind of the Daredevils that I like. Maybe this is a little more raw. I might dig it.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful cover. I absolutely love it, but that 1 in 100 price tag always hurts. That's just me, guys. I'm cheap, I know. But anyways, let's get into territories where we can afford a comic in my realm. Rogue, the Savage Land, issue number 1. J. Scott Campbell cover at cover price. Yeah, sign me up. You got Rogue, Magneto, Kazar, and Nick Fury. Cover depiction by J. Scott Campbell. Can't go wrong. But hang tight. Because if you're not a fan of the trade, you can get yourself the Virgin. Right. There you go. 1 in 100.
Yeah. I picked this up, not the 1 in 100, just the regular trade. I picked it up on my my FOC this week. It's just, it's interesting. See what happens.
Yeah. I want to have faith when it comes to the actual story, but for now, I gotta say, issue 1 is a straight cover grab for myself. J. Scott Campbell. So this is a sick cover. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, how I feel about diminishing costumes for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
I've complained about it in the past. I look at this, I see Kazar in a loincloth. I see Nick Fury in a head to toe. Magneto's got his full-on cloak costume going on. So it's not a temperature thing why Rogue is like this.
No, at all. At all. You know what? You're just speaking facts. I know we're supposed to just let our imaginations go wild when it comes to comics, but no, this is questionable now. Magneto
Yeah,
must be
she's
sweating.
got the fanny pack going on so she can, carry a few things, and it's I don't have pockets because look, I'm in my bikini, but
Yeah.
why? I don't know. It's gratuitous in my mind, but whatever.
Could you imagine walking in the Savage Lands with high heels? Poor girl, but no clothes.
Right? Well, is she wearing high heels, or is she just like on a tippy toe? I mean,
I
that,
don't know.
that leg is bigger than the other one.
Oh yeah, no, she's not on high heels. I don't think so. Yeah, because the other foot looks flat. But anyway,
So it's got to be a perspective thing then.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. But anyways, Black Canary, best of the best. Issue number 2, the 1 in 25 incentive. This one by Chuma Hill. Very neat cover. Very neat cover. The hair flow. I know it. Okay, sounds a little girly of me, but just everything about this. Pretty neat cover.
She's just looking at the reader, just like, "What did you call me?"
Yeah. Did you say you're not buying this issue?
What'd you say? Say it. Say it again. Say it.
But no, dude, it pops. You know how I feel every time I see a all black cover. I panic. But yeah, no, it's
Would you consider this be a negative space? I mean, because the black blends into her jacket.
I guess a little bit. I think the whole like bullseye thing going on behind
Kind
her,
of weird, right? It's
yeah,
like,
kind of throws it off. Her
in this
fishnets
case, yeah,
might maybe.
in this case, I think it actually detracts. I'm not. I mean, okay, I know Shuma Hill, the art style here, it's very nice. I like it, but I think that the negative space detracts from Canary's overall vibe. I think if I had at least an outline of her back and her arm, it would be a little bit stronger for me.
Yeah. But regardless, still a nice cover. So Black Canary, best of the best, issue number 2, 1 in 25. But up next, guys, Mark Spears on fire. Absolute fire. I actually was watching Brian McClay last night. Mark Spears was on there talking about several things, which it was a great show. Great show. But now we've got Monsters number 1 hitting a 3rd print, and we've got a Wolfman depiction by Mark Spears, of course. I love how on the payphone we have this reflection. It's real cool.
Yeah, so let me explain to you what a payphone is, Lando, because you're.
I know, trust me, I know. I had to bail myself out many times.
Yeah, this is interesting. It seems to me that these are always going to be ones that you need to grab if you can, because yes, it's a reprint story, but it's a brand new piece of cover art, and a lot of people are buying these just for the cover arts.
Yeah,
and it's
it's unfortunate though. The read's good.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just I love the colors. I love the way that he works his colors. If this was not done with the coloring the way that it is, I don't think it would work. So I really like what he does here.
I think you bring up a good point that the coloring is very important to make these things pop the way they do. Because I had the colors just not been right, this probably wouldn't hit the way it's supposed to. But I think it does. Mark Spears killing it, having a phenomenal year this year. But it doesn't end there for issue number 1 on their 3rd print.
One. I mean, if you're gonna pick one and you got the money for the 1 in 20, this is the one to get, definitely.
Yeah.
Just the movie homage covers. I'm a sucker for them. I love the Deadpool ones that came out about 10 years ago. I collected all of them. They're in my personal collection. This is right up there in my mind. This is one that I want to get if I can.
Agreed. And who didn't like Nightmare on Elm Street? Come on. But yeah, this is a wonderful homage. It's so well done. Everything about it just is wonderful. So yeah, if you could afford the 1 in 20, you might want to try to get that locked in ASAP. Call up your shops, because you know that the premium is going to be there once it comes on release. It's probably already up there on pre-sales as we speak. eBay. I'm speaking eBay now. If your shops are hurting you when it comes to 1 in 20s, you might want to reconsider shop. But anyways, let's keep it rolling, because up next, one of the biggest books of the year.
Yeah.
Safe to say that, right, Chris?
I think that I want to say that I heard that it hit 400,000 printings
Yeah.
between all of the various printings of it. That number one has had 400,000 printings, that is nuts. I
Yeah.
mean, that is like, are we at Spawn number one territory yet? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because so okay, Absolute Batman. It's a fantastic story. I absolutely love everything about it. I know that it's been a bit divisive with some readers. You know, this is the Batman who lifts. You know, it's not really Batman because he doesn't have all the same things. It's just this is that kind of reimagining that I love comic books for. You know,
Right.
because yeah, you know what I got Batman. I like Batman. You know, Batman's interesting, but this is a new take, and I love this new take. So yeah, fourth printing on the left, very cool. And then number two, second printing cover, revealing the first cover appearance of Bat Building.
Yeah. Bad building. Yeah, no, these are neat. Like you were saying, fourth printing right there is just amazing. Dragora has been killing it. I think, Dragora's art, everything is just top notch. But the
Yeah,
fourth
so
printing,
Michael Baker is saying that we got to be over 1 million to hit spot number one territory. I think we're going to get there. I mean, when did the first print come out? It was just a few months ago, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think we're going to get there. This is going to see like a 12th printing, I'm sure.
you know what? I hope power to them if they can make it to that point. But I feel like in today's time, especially the fatigue kicks in rather fast when they see multiple printings. So all depends on how it's executed. But so far, every cover has been absolutely wicked. You have Absolute Batman issue number one, Absolute Batman issue number two, hitting later prints. But hang tight, guys. It doesn't end there because the number two has a 1 in 25 incentive with the Batmobile, the new Batmobile. And it's the first, I guess, cover appearance, I guess we could say, for the Batmobile in the Absolute Universe.
This was nuts. I mean, so if you're reading the story, and I'm going to go. I mean, it's been a couple weeks since the number two came out, so if you haven't read it so far, then shame on you. But you got the very, very end of the story. You got Alfred and Bruce finally deciding that they're going to cooperate with each other, and they jump down from the exploding building. And Alfred goes, "My bike was up there. You don't have a car, do you?" And Bruce goes, "You're standing on it." And then you see this. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, it just bang takes off. So it's so badass. Like you were saying, the book has been great. I know it was divisive amongst people. This is not my Batman. I think it's perfectly executed out the gate. And that's what people loved about Ultimate Spider-Man. There was a relation to the character. Bruce Wayne's been rich his whole life. He's that rich guy that we've always known, and that's how he became the Batman. It's cool to see this new perspective, right? You
Yeah.
almost feel like you can relate a little more to the Batman.
Yeah, I am curious though. I mean, if he's supposed to be so okay, I've heard Batman who lifts, right? Because he's so bulked out, right?
Yeah.
But he's not rich, so I want to call him the Batman who thrifts. So let's go ahead and coin that right here. He's the Batman who thrifts. Okay.
The Batman who thrifts.
Because he's not rich, man. He's not rich.
No.
He's in crime alley. He's just trying to make it, man. One paycheck to another.
Yeah.
How's he affording all of this stuff that's attached to this big garbage truck? Or
Well, he's thrifting on the other side, bro. He's like flipping his underwear in and out
on eBay, like I am.
Yeah. He takes all his money and just gets that's. But you know what? It's funny because even when I was reading the issue, I was like, man, how the hell did he afford this? Right? You know what I mean? I'm trying to see. I guess
you know what? We're gonna hear Batman who thrifts as a joke somewhere down the future, and you and I are gonna know that it started here, right here.
So. Absolutely. We'll start the hashtag going after this, guys.
Hey, go down to Instagram and just tag Batman who thrifts. You know, Absolute Batman is the Batman who thrifts.
Yeah, please do. I'm gonna hashtag it in the description of this video so we
Do it.
always come back to it after
Awesome.
the fact. But, guys, speaking absolute stuff, we have Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 3. Here you've got the cover A, possible introductions of new Absolute Universe heroes, but yes, beautiful cover A. But I'm sorry, guys. I really apologize. There's a
Oh,
reason
man.
why it's the thumbnail tonight, because the cover B by Ariel Diaz is just by far my favorite cover available this week on FOC. No discredit to the Hill variant that you have to the right side, but Diaz
Okay.
wins my heart on this one.
I gotta say, Lando, I'm drawn to cover C. I'm just drawn to it. I mean, I dig cover B. Cover B is a lot better, a lot more eye catching than cover A, in my
Yeah.
opinion. No discredit to any of the artists involved, but I look at cover C, and if I'm picking one in my weekly, that's the one that I'm going to pick up.
Yep. 100%, dude. Couldn't agree more. But if you want to go crazy, you can get yourself the 1 in 50 incentive. Gabe, I see you in the chat. I cannot respond to you because, or pull up your comments because for some reason this restream platform sucks. But besides the point, I see you, Gabe. I know you picked up the regular one, just like myself, because I cannot afford that 1 in 50. But the Absolute Wonder Woman number 2 by Diaz. Look, when it comes to the card stocks and it comes to the ratios, there's not much of a difference, really. Like, okay,
Yeah,
take away the stuff at the bottom.
They're minimal, right? You still have the DC logo. It's not a true version.
Exactly. But by far, my favorite cover of the week. You heard it from Chris. He's way more attracted to that Hill variant, and I don't blame him because it's actually really nice. But regardless, here you have it.
I like pretty colors.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. But guys, if you really enjoyed any of these books we spoke about and you want to pick some of these up, if you're in the United States, go visit comicnation.us. Get yourself an additional 5% off of the order. They're already giving you 15% off, but get an additional 5 by using discount code BLACKCROWN. And if you're in Canada, where I'm at, well, go visit comiclegion.ca. They give you 20% off already on the cover price, but you can get additional 5% off by using discount code ENLIST if it's your first order. I don't think I need to tell you guys, but I will say it anyways. Please go subscribe to Covrprice on YouTube, where you can find myself and this handsome fellow right here, Dr. Yo-Yo. But
is there another person in the room? What?
but also go visit the website because yes, where do we get most of our information? Well, it's over on Covrprice. Lots of great features. You can catalog your books as well as keep up with the daily shakers, see the top 10 lists. Of course, you can watch the ever so awesome Laura. You can watch Marty. You can watch Gabe when it comes to top 10. But you can be ahead of the game. Go check out the website. Subscribe for the wonderful price of a what?
A McRib.
McRib. Or if you're somebody like myself, a juicy McChicken. Whatever it is that you're into, guys. But all right, Chris, that was the FOC picks of the week. Now we're going to get into the market stuff. Are the stuff that you and I are.
If you're okay, Lando, there are a couple other FOCs that I picked up. Are you okay with that?
Of course.
I don't shop at the same. I use my LCS. So I'm going to deviate from the store that you are working with here. Are you okay with that?
Share the screen. Go ahead.
Okay. So there you go. So one of the things that you guys got to know about me, I love Converse. I am a Chuck's All Stars. I have over 55 pairs of Chucks. I love Chucks the way that some people love Jordans, right? I work for the government and I go into government buildings and I go into these high import meetings and I'm wearing a suit with a pair of Chucks.
That's the way, baby.
That's just how I am, right? And I don't wear any other shoe. I refuse to wear any other shoe but Converse. It's just me. That's how I am. So when I saw this was a snap buy for me because look at those shoes, man. Yeah. I'm just, that's an easy buy for me. The other ones that I picked up was this cover of Uncanny X-Men #8.
Dude, I love these covers. The Ja Russo covers are just so awesome. He's been remaking several of these.
Yeah, I really dig it. I really like the look. I really like the style. And then the variant covers for the Mickey and Friends. You got, you know, Duck is the thing. This one was pretty cool right here. And then let's see, there was the other one. Oh yeah, this. I saw this and I just started laughing.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, look, if it makes me laugh, I'm probably going to order it. I mean, we're talking $5. It's not a big risk here, but I do like the Flash when he's handled correctly. I don't know what's going on in the Flash verse right now,
Yeah.
but I saw this cover and I literally started laughing out loud because you got this guy right here. He's like, "What? Are you for real? Are you going to make me racist, guy?"
I'm surprised nobody tried to tie his shoelaces. That's the only way.
Well, that's how Robin did in Teen Titans, right? Or
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, those were the things that I picked up. And there's another one that I'm really curious. I don't know what the cover is, but there was a I guess I didn't pick it up. Never mind. So yeah, that's what I picked up on my FOC.
Yeah, great pickups, man. I love them. The Flash cover now, you kind of made me want to go back to see if I can grab one. So good mention on that. But like I said, the market is what we're going to get into right now. Something that everyone's familiar about, you and I talking about. So let's just get into it right away. Market report, guys. Every single week, gathering information from multiple lists, whether it be the House of Stein, CBSI, Key Collector, the ever so awesome Covrprice, Go Collect, eBay. Everybody here is incredible. But most importantly, the Baker Shakers. That's right. Michael Baker DMs me every single day on Instagram with sales that take place on the daily. So for tonight, we are going to highlight some of those books. Up first, Wolverine Revenge, issue number 1. Now, guys, I forgot to mention there's no top 10. This is not a top 10. We just go in random order, okay? So don't feel like there's anything behind that. But Wolverine Revenge number 1. This is the red band Puppeteer Lee Virgin for Unknown Comics, CGC 99.
Yeah.
99. That's not a typo. Sold for 150 US dollars. It was a cover price daily shaker. I'm actually surprised because that Puppeteer cover for the Puppeteer Lee cover for Spawn. You remember that one when he did the Spawn one? It exploded. Like it was doing very well. A 99 for 150 US dollars seems like a bargain.
I'm pretty surprised. I mean, this cover is badass. And a 99. I wonder if it only went for 150 because of some of the blowback that CGC is getting for their 9.9 grades.
Could be. It could be. But regardless, I just think this is relatively low. For a 99, I would have happily spent that money to get this cover. Would you risk the chance to get it signed afterwards is the question. Because you got yourself a 99.
Yeah, you wouldn't get this signed. You would get another copy to get it signed.
Yeah, exactly. Now, guys, just a quick pause. If you're just tuning in, or if you've been, tuned in for quite a little bit, and I haven't shouted you out, I know you're used to me doing that, but for some reason, Restream, it's just frozen on me when it comes to the chat here to pull up your comments. But I do see you, okay? So nothing but love. I appreciate every single one of you who is here rocking it with myself and Chris. But anyways, let's keep it rolling because up next, X-Men issue 500, a very big milestone issue for the X-Men. The 1:30 ratio cover by Michael Turner is a sick cover. I love Turner's work. I love this cover. CGC 96 sold for 200 US dollars. This was also a cover price daily shaker this week, and it's such a cool cover.
When was this? When did this come out? What year did this come out? X-Men 500.
Oh, I want to say well over 10 years ago.
Let me take a look here. Yeah, 2008. So this is just one of those. This is the Turner effect, right?
Yeah.
$200 for a 9.6. That's interesting. Wonder what a 9.8 would go for, if there even are any that are out there. Yeah, this is a Turner effect. You gotta get these books while you can, because this artist is beloved, and you're not going to get any more of them.
Exactly. We were saying over on Thursday how Michael Turner, unfortunately, it was like a short time where we got to enjoy some of his stuff. But like, I feel like Michael Turner's work in that short time really like had an impact within our hobby within comics. Like
Yeah.
Michael Turner's work, it's unfortunate. I kind of feel like we got robbed of great potential art after the fact, right? But
Yeah.
it is what it is. When it's our time, it's our time. We can't control that, but what we can control is what we have that did come out by Michael Turner, and I totally understand the love for his art because it's absolutely. I would say he almost hits a home run every time.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah. So X-Men 500 was on Cover Price's Daily Shaker, CGC 96 for the 130 ratio by Michael Turner, sold for 200 US dollars. Now, up next, we spoke Absolute Batman #1. This one was interesting, and I'm kind of puzzled by it because it was a Cover Price Daily Shaker, and it's the Dan Panosian connecting cover by Midtown Comics, and it was an exclusive. Raw near mint 300 US dollars.
That's
I, I I think somebody significantly overpaid because I was looking at eBay sales and even in Canadian funds, guys, which you all know how worthless that is right here. Um, I was seeing them at like $100 Canadian, $130 Canadian. So I was kind of puzzled when I saw this sale. 300 US dollars is really up there.
I wonder if the sale here was a signed copy. You know, I think that would be the only thing that would make sense to me. Now, I mean, I'm pulling it up on Cover Price right now.
Yeah.
Average raw is 148.
Yeah.
But the raw price that sold just 2 days ago exceeds the last sold copy of a 9.8 sealed.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty interesting. Let me go to the sales data here. And this may not be one that's sold on eBay. Maybe it's sold somewhere else.
Feel
Okay.
free to share the screen if you'd like.
Yeah. Last sold was on the 22nd. And let's just go to eBay and check this out real fast. I'm just curious. Well, we can continue, and I'll just come back to it.
Sounds good. I love how you're so tech savvy and quick, right? You were just talking earlier about how you are very tech savvy within your line of duty. And yeah, it's a very interesting sale. Raw near mint 300 US dollars for this Panosian connecting cover. A bit weird, especially you just said it, right? The raw average for this is 148.
Yeah, and it's it's higher for. I mean, it's even lower for a graded, the last graded copy. So I'm not seeing very many Panosians. Let me just try to restrict some of the search terms here.
All right, Chris, I'll let you search it up.
Be so on something other than eBay, because I see that this exact one sold for $25.
That's what I'm saying. They're cheap, right? This sale made no sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, it is what it is. We'll keep it rolling from Absolute Batman because Mark Spears Monsters #1. We were talking about Mark Spears and Monsters just over on the FOC portion of the show, but the Kickstarter edition, the cover G, as they say, is the ASM 601 homage cover. Amazing. We actually highlighted this briefly when we were running through the daily shakers over on Thursday night, but a raw near mint selling at 210 US dollars was also a Baker shaker because he sent this my way. Let me know. And I shout out both Cover Price and Michael Baker for tonight on this particular book because it's neat. Like I said, we briefly touched on it. I love the detail of a little somebody out the window, just like Spidey, right?
Trying to figure out what that is on the windowsill behind the radiator. It looks like a pie plate, maybe. I don't know. Mark Spears always puts these little details in, these little like Easter eggs or hints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the newspaper, you see the Man in Black scene again. The tape there, the cassette tape, it says Monster Mix on it. Yeah, some pretty interesting little nods here, but I'm curious what the Easter egg is on the windowsill there, and I probably have to see it in person and look closely at it.
I almost feel like next to her on the sofa, if you're looking, you can see like there's like some drawing taking place. I don't know if they're doing like a Monsters homage within this homage of like Dracula or something.
Yeah, those are other covers that he's already released for the series.
Yeah. It's absolutely
And
absolutely wild.
I think the green one is the Bird City Comic exclusive. So you should we should tell Laura that her exclusive is featured on this cover.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, man. That's awesome. But guys, again, like I said, the chat, I'm unable to pull up your comments, but I see you, man. I see Kamikaze, SNMC, appreciate you being here. Shout out to Gabe, of course, Marcel for being here. UniX is in the house, so nothing but love for all of you guys who's rocking with us tonight. But we'll keep it rolling. Like I said, I'm keeping an eye on your comments on my phone. But yo, I had to put this one up. I had to, Chris. We highlighted it briefly. I know on Covrprice we kind of kept scrolling, but my eyes came back to this when I was putting together my list for tonight for obvious reasons. Grimm Fairy Tales, issue 67, Celisky Girl Edition, limited to 75 copies, guys. Zenoscope Entertainment. CGC 98 sold for $600 US. It was a Covrprice daily shaker. I've seen multiple people talk about this in the past. Mr. Longshort, who I follow simply because, I love watching them over on Laura's channel, which is Nearing Nirvana. If you guys aren't subscribed, I highly encourage everybody to do so because they are dropping some great information as well. Now, as for this cover, well, I can't say it's the best cover, but look at the mountains here.
Such scenery.
Yeah. Right? I know how you feel about these covers, Chris. So
yeah, it's just there's a market for it. I'm just not in that market. I mean, I look at this and I worry about her health. She's gonna get the worst sunburn she's ever had.
Well, I mean, if she falls down that slope, let me tell you, it's gonna be she's gonna have a red ass. But either way, I'm not even gonna say that out loud. I won't say what I was about to say next. But yeah, man, it's a neat cover. Look, you said it over on Covrprice when we were talking about booby covers, and you're not wrong. There is a market for that. It's not for everybody. Personally, I could understand why some people love this and some people hate this. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I will always enjoy the scenery, 100%. But yeah, it's limited to 75. The scarcity as well. Forget the ever so curvaceous things we are seeing on this cover. CGC 98 selling for 600 USD simply because the scarcity, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. That's all we got for you guys. Bye, booty.
Yeah.
All right. I told you guys we were going to talk about this for a quick second, but Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. There was a mini comic book that was included with the video game that just came out last week. We've had the opportunity to play the video game on digital platforms and throughout our entire childhood because the game features multiple games in one that we've played throughout time, whether it was Marvel vs. Capcom. Here, I'll even read them all to you. You have X-Men Children of Adam, X-Men versus Street Fighter. You got the Punisher, which I have as the actual arcade one-up in my house. Marvel versus Capcom 2, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. Now, here's the game, okay? I'm just showing you guys very quickly. I'm going to stick to the small screen. But as you can see here, it came with a very, very tiny comic book. I had no idea, and it was kind of misleading when it came to the advertisements, etc. When you were looking at the pre-orders, whether it be GameStop, Best Buy, you name it, the pre-orders didn't specify the size of the comics. Now, when I heard about this, I immediately thought, look at that Injustice comic. There was an exclusive, right? When you buy the collector's edition, there was a comic that came inside that. It was a full-size comic, whereas this was a mini. Still, just the same, the mini comic included with the video game sold for 42 Canadian dollars in a raw near mint. Baker Shaker this week, but what's interesting is that the comic sells for 42. I purchased the game for 69. So
I wonder about this, right? Do you it was the same comic that came in the PlayStation and the Xbox disc version, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why it's small, because it had to fit in a Nintendo Switch case and in a PlayStation case and in an Xbox case.
Well, regardless, I don't think it came out on Xbox. It was actually on PS4. They didn't do
Oh yeah,
PS5.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
They
PS4,
did
but
PS4 and they did Nintendo Switch. Now, yes, that most likely is
so
the
you
reason,
have it like
but
the
even the PS4 case itself would not fit a regular sized comic, unfortunately.
right. So I think that's why it's small. It has to be narrow enough to be inside of a Switch case, and
Yeah,
it has to be, it has to be short enough to fit inside the PlayStation case.
yeah.
Um, look, I love Marvel versus Capcom. I love Marvel versus Capcom.
Same, same.
I
Same
mean,
cabinet.
I have a stand-up arcade in my basement that I customized and modified,
Yeah,
and the primary games on it are the Marvel vs. Capcom, the Marvel Fighting Series, and the crossovers that come with it. I absolutely love it. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is the greatest arcade game of all time. I will take no exceptions. Don't come at me, bro. Okay,
guys,
I will triple combo you, and you will be gone. I
you
love that game.
if he stands by something, he stands by it. We all saw how he did with candy corn. Okay, so don't try to fight him. But yeah, no, I agree with you. It's one of my all time favorites. Like I said, there's a reason why I purchased the cabinet as well. Marvel superheroes, that is. But Marvel versus Capcom only came out after the fact, so I didn't get the cabinet. But I do have multiple modded mini SNESs. I have the original SNES. I have every single console in time because I still collect them.
Yeah.
And they're a part of my childhood. I would never get rid of them. But the actual game itself, it's neat to have. But unfortunately, people were misled. Now, I know people were wondering because based on pre-order, they were like, oh, okay, if you pre-order, you get this comic. Now, this was inserted inside the case already. People thought that this was going to be one of those where you pick up in store because you don't know how they're going to handle it, right? If you ship it to your
Sure.
house, you knew you were doomed, right? So a lot of people opted out of the shipping and did in-store pickup only to get shafted. So it was kind of all over the place when it comes to that.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen worse. I've seen worse, comic tie-ins. There was that DVD that for Spider-Man that came out that you got this right. It came with a comic.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
this
that's
little
cool.
thing, the size of two postage stamps. So there are worse examples out there. I didn't get this for the Switch. I got it for the PC because I want to be able to use an arcade stick with it.
Yeah.
The arcade stick is how I played the game when it came out on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I had an arcade stick to it. The arcade stick wasn't heavy enough, so I unscrewed it. I put the lead weights that you use to rebalance tires. I super glued them to the bottom of the arcade stick to make it heavier,
Yeah.
so that I could really go at it. And I have an arcade stick for the PC. It's over off the camera right now, but that's how I play it. I pull out my drawer in my desk, I put the
Oh yeah.
arcade stick down, and I play it on my big screen, and I love it. I love playing this game. I'm so happy they re-released it, and as soon as it's available on Steam, I snap on. No questions asked.
That's the way to do it, man. I'm so happy to hear you have the cabinet. I see Gabe in the chat saying that he also has the exact same cabinet I have, which is the Marvel Cap. Oh no, he has the Marvel Capcom One Up arcade in his house. I have the Marvel superheroes with the big Thanos on the side and stuff like that.
Yeah, I built my own.
We're not as cool as you, man. We're not as
Well, I mean, I don't have a legit one. I have a customized one with 3,000 games on it, but
it just says it like that, nonchalant. Like, yeah, I just have a customized cabinet with 3,000 games.
I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. What do you want?
That's the way, man. But shout outs to Gabe, yourself, and anyone else who was playing this. If anybody wants an ass whooping, just add me on Nintendo Switch. Anyways, let's keep it rolling. We were talking about Wolverine, the red band earlier, but now Hunt for Wolverine #1 was also a cover price daily shaker this week. This is the teaser cover by Adam Kubert, CGC 98, $500. We were talking black covers again. I'd imagine it's a little tough to come across, but I've never seen many copies of this. I don't think I've ever seen this in the wild.
This is weird. This doesn't. I mean, I like Adam Kubert. his art reminds me of his dad's art. I like his dad's art, you know. This doesn't strike me as a cover that should demand that price, if I could be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's interesting. I mean, I get it. You know, Wolverine's claws are coming out of the comic page. They're tearing through the cover. I get it. I get what it's supposed to be doing, but the art here is very minimal. I don't see $500 here. I see, you know, maybe $100. What was the ratio on this?
So it's not a ratio. It's actually just it was a regular cover. If you're asking census, I'm not too sure. I think it's in the 40 mark. If I'm not.
This is a variant though, right? Because the trade was the one with the weird like
correct
metal going around his face. Okay, let me pull it up. Okay, so this is what's weird, right? I just pulled it up on
League of Comic Geek.
On Covrprice, and you could still get this raw for like under $5.
But that's what I'm saying is a weird sale, right?
Yeah.
But that census is what I'm concerned. I was questioning, and if I'm not mistaken, I was checking it earlier. I think there was not many. I think it's like within the 40 mark for the 9/8.
Okay.
So chat, if you're checking it out, let me know. We can check later on. But yeah, very interesting sale. CGC 9/8, $500. Now up next, this one blew my mind. Venom issue number 3. Yes, everybody feels a certain way. But first appearance of Null. Gabe, I know it's going to go off when it comes to Venom right now. CGC 99, selling at $4,200 was a cover price daily shaker this morning. And, well, I can confirm this is the only 99 on the census. So
this demanded a premium price because it's a 99. I mean, yes, it's a badass cover. The art is phenomenal. But the reason why it's expensive is because it's a 99.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yeah, first appearance of Null. Okay. It's like $150 to $200 comic raw. I get it. But I mean, Null Venom 3, the movie Venom 3 was so bad.
Yeah.
And Null looked so bad in that movie. I don't think that, you know, his first appearance is why this is going connecting a premium. I think it's the best cover in a 99, and it's the only 99. So
I will say, Null, contrary to what you said about Null looking bad, I thought he actually looked badass. I thought he looked very scary as hell. But yeah, this has nothing to do with the first appearance. It's the only 99 on the census, guys. So clearly you could see it demanded a premium. It's very interesting.
So emo, the whole movie. I'm not gonna look up into the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, his white, greasy hair draped over his face the whole time. You know, looking like a bad riff of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, man. The movie was bad. I hated it. I hated it, and I went in wanting to like it.
Yeah. One last thing though I want to bring up, because Gabe brings up a comment saying nothing against Venom, but it's a bad practice to invest in a villain's first appearance. Now, I will say when you look at it from an investment perspective, I agree, because it's got to be quick. You know, villains in general, I buy villain first appearances because I really love these villains, right? When I went out to spend money for the first appearance of Thanos in Iron Man 55, it's because I wanted his first appearance, not for resale value or anything otherwise. I found a signed copy by Starlin, and I'm like, yes, this is what I want in my collection. But when it comes to villains as such, especially when it comes to MCU spec or movie spec in general, you got to be fast. You got to be ready to pick that up at the low, sell while it's still relevant, and then you're going to see the drop come again.
And that's because, I mean, so villain specking, yeah, I get it. It depends on the villain, right?
Yeah.
If it's an evergreen villain like Joker,
but that
or you know, something like that. You have a villain who's, you know, or the Red Skull. These are the evergreen, like Doctor Doom. You know, these are the villains that never are going to go away, right?
Correct.
I don't think that Null is a strong enough character to overcome the
Inevitable
drag
death.
that happens when, you know, after the character dies in the comics or something like that. It's just not that interesting.
Yeah. No, I understand. I will say of modern time, Null is one of the greater villains that has been created within comics. That was very adapted and accepted, sorry, by comic readers. The Donny Cates stuff, people soaked that in heavily, including myself. I really enjoyed Null, but would I go out to pay this premium? No, but I do think
Yeah.
his first appearance is worth having in your collection. But anyways, let's keep it rolling because Deadpool issue 31. We just got Ellie Camacho within comics as Deadpool. That's right. That's what's happening in the current Deadpool run. But issue 31 has her first full appearance, and this is the 1-in-15 ratio cover by Alex Maleev. CGC 98 sold for $200 US. This being a Baker Shaker this week. I never like covers that have other characters and then the title is a totally different character. It always bothers me. Always bothers me.
Are the Guardians in this book?
I don't think so. I don't even think so.
All right. I mean, I like the art. The art's cool.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, I don't know. It's one of those things.
Oh no, wait. I think they are in this one because there was there was like a Guardians thing happening at this point in time, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, besides the point, not entirely my cup of tea. But CGC 98 selling at $200 US. But it's funny because we got this book that sold, and another book that popped up was Marvel Preview issue 7, first appearance of Rocket Raccoon.
Okay, now is this the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon, or is the Hulk the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon?
So, according to CGC's label, it's this one.
I don't know.
But I'm happy you bring this up because this is what I want to talk about. CGC 92 selling for $725 US for Marvel Preview 7. More magazine style than anything, right?
Yeah.
And I know people feel a certain way. Magazines, comics. I'm not even going to get into that debate. But like you just said, the Hulk book, right? Now this one, CGC 92, $725 US for a first appearance of such a character who was quite relevant within the MCU and heavily loved. I'm actually surprised to see $725 US for a 92. I would think that's relatively cheap.
Yeah, considering 1976, magazines weren't treated the same way as comics. I think a 92 is a pretty rare specimen for sure. As far as first appearance of Rocket goes, I think personally I lean more towards the Hulk. Maybe I might be a little biased because I have like 4 of them.
but is it because of what I mentioned? Is it because magazine, comic, right? That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's hard because you have, this is still a comic, even if the format is not a comic, right? Yeah. So I don't know. It's I guess to each their own.
So that's why I wanted to bring this up, and I'm happy you're bringing it up as well, Chris. I'm happy you're bringing forth the Hulk stuff because if you would eliminate the Hulk book, right, first appearance of Rocket within a comic book, and this being relevant, let's pretend this was a comic book. Do you think a CGC 92 should be at 725, or do you think it would normally deserve to be higher?
That's a good question. You have to look at the way that magazines were printed back in 76 and the way that comics were printed back in 76.
Yeah.
Because I've got a lot of 1970s comics and the paper quality is not great. But I also have some, 1970s magazines, and most of them have glossy covers.
Yeah.
Most of them are, thicker than comics, a little bit more robust. I think that, if handled correctly, the magazine might have a little more staying power as far as paper quality and build quality than the comic from 76. I just, I don't know. 9.2 is good. $700 feels right.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I personally feel like it should 725 is a good bargain. I think that's a fair price for a CGC 92 of Marvel Preview issue number 7. And yeah, to each their own when it comes to the comic debate versus magazine, guys. So leave your comments below.
I
If
mean,
you guys
I
think
guess we could say about the Hulk is it's the first cover appearance, right? So
fair. That is very fair. That is very fair. And it does have a little extra oomph behind it when you say that.
yeah.
But anyways, let's keep it rolling because we've got a few more books to talk about. Daredevil End of Days issue number 3. Spoke about this briefly on Thursday night. Just wanted to re-highlight it because 1 in 25 ratio by David Mack. This David Mack cover is absolutely insane. CGC 98 sold for 400 US dollars. This was a Baker shaker. It was a Covrprice daily shaker. And if I know my fellow shaker, Dr. Yo-Yo, well enough, he wouldn't get the copy that he physically owns, right?
Well, I was actually looking for. It was funny that David Mack's starting to pop up and is getting more and more recognition. I was going through a stack of trade paperbacks that I picked up in a collection, and one of them was a David Mack, and it's signed. I had no idea. It's out of reach. I don't know where it is. But it like caught me off guard and I like had to reevaluate. Well, how do I list this now? Because I only keep a small fraction of what I pick up. I sell on my eBay store and at Hip Comics. I have a store on Hip Comics. And I don't just sell comics. I sell toys. I sell magic cards. I sell Pokemon. I sell everything, right? Anything that I can buy and flip, that's like a hobby of mine. It's just a little bit of extra fun money that lets the kids get some good gifts and lets my wife buy the expensive yarn that she does for her knitting. And I don't know if you know how expensive yarn is. Yarn is expensive, man.
I really thought you were going to say Range Rover, but okay.
No, like yarn. Just the yarn is not cheap. I mean, she's like making a sweater, and it's like $800 worth of yarn. So.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just nuts. Just like alpaca blessed by the Pope, and concentrated unicorn tears or something like that. It's nuts. Okay, so David Mack, awesome artist, awesome cover. I like gravestone covers, like the Spider-Man gravestone covers. I'm a big fan of those ones. I like gravestone covers. I dig it. So I like this one.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful, beautiful cover. I love it. Look, I got to briefly meet David Mack at Terrificon, and yeah, there's been so many of these hugging the tombstone covers that have existed before, right? The Spider-Man Reign, there was a Daredevil one. I forget the issue.
He's hugging Electro's gravestone, if I remember. Yeah,
exactly. So I just there's something about these covers that I love, and yeah, I think David Mack killed it on this one. So no surprise, CGC 98 selling for 400 US dollars. But we'll keep it rolling because we were talking about this backstage, sir.
Yeah, this is crazy. So Johnny the homicidal maniac. I don't know much about this. I actually had one. I picked it up in a collection. I think mine was a 17th printing. It was beat the hell. And if I didn't take the time to look it up, I never would have known it was worth money. Yeah. And you guys in the chat, you got to understand this book. I don't know why, but this book carries a any condition. Did I lose you? Oh, wait.
No, we're here.
Okay. So I got a little pop-up that says lost connection. This book, any condition, any printing, carries a premium. I sold probably like a CGC 4 for like $50, and it sold quick too. And this is just something that was in a big pile of basically dollar books. And this is crazy. It's nuts.
It is. And look, first comic book appearance of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. 18 CGC 98s on the census. CGC 98 sold for 2,000 US dollars. This is very wild. And you were talking about the later prints.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it's nuts. There are so many printings of this cover. I think that there's like maybe like less than 50 of each printing, which kind of makes it so scarce. And it's like the guy, I don't know. I don't know enough about this, but my theory is that as one printing sold out, he got the funds to do another printing.
Yeah.
And then just kind of kept on going for as long as it would.
Yeah, but very interesting. Very interesting. Cover price daily shaker, CGC 98 at 2,000 US dollars. Now, we're close to wrapping it up. This one is another interesting one, and it's due to the later print. Actually, they were pulling it back. I was reading about this. Now, the third printing for Walking Dead issue 116, the cover is by Charlie Adler. CGC 98 sold for 2,400 US dollars. It is a Baker shaker, but what I understood is that he was at a signing books at a local comic shop, and they noticed that there was like a difference in the ink colors, and the third printing or second printing and third printing was like already out type thing and wasn't supposed to be out or something, so they were recalling it. I don't remember what exactly the deal was, but it was called back after that signing. And not many copies ended up hitting shelves after the fact. So CGC 98 selling at $2,400. There's not many copies on the census. I think it was well over 50 something in a 98, and that's pretty much it with this book.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this on Covrprice, and see the guy to the right, underneath the D, the D at the end.
Yep.
He always out of focus, right? On cover A, the first cover, he's in focus. And the colors on it, yes, the purple coloring is a little bit darker on the third print than the first print. The second print, it's like really light. It's like lavender, right?
Yeah.
So first print and second print, nothing substantial, nothing exciting, a couple bucks, not a desirable book. Third print, dude's out of focus on the right. The coloring of the font is deep purple, which is really hard to read against the red blood color. I guess it was recalled. It's considered a gem over on Covrprice, and a raw will go for $400. That's a demand.
So what's interesting about this though is, again, when you factor the backstory behind the book, you can understand the price tag here for a CGC 98 at $2,400, but you can literally get the actual Walking Dead #1 for the same price, probably in a 9.6, 9.8.
Yeah, crazy.
So yeah, it's interesting to see that people would be willing to fork out this coin for this particular issue rather than the first appearance. You would hope that person has the first Walking Dead issue.
I'm sure if they're dropping $2,400 on number 116, they probably have #1.
Exactly. But anyways, very interesting sale. And one more book I want to talk to you guys about, because it is the biggest sale to date, guys. Batman 251. It is a classic cover art right here by Neil Adams. It doesn't get better. I think it's one of Neil Adams's best covers. It's up there in the top 5 for me. CGC 98 sold for $39,600 US. Not a used Kia, it's a new one.
Oh, Lando, I got to interrupt you. Alex just donated $10 to the stream with a super chat demanding that I do yo-yo tricks. I'm not your monkey. No,
Alex,
I'll do some for you. I'll do some for you. By all means, you bought Lando 2 spicy McChickens.
Yes,
I'm sure he appreciates it. But I got you covered. I got a yo-yo right here for you, Alex. I'll do some for you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. You honestly didn't need to do that, dude. Like, I'm not in this for any of that, but I still thank you just the same. But yeah, let's talk the book. If I wish I could pull up your comment, I unfortunately can't because it's frozen. But I'll find a way. But yes, Chris, Neil Adams, this particular issue, it's an absolute classic. I don't think it gets better. Highest sale to date for a CGC 98.
So there are certain Neil Adams covers that just defy all logic because of how amazing they are. You got this one. You have his other one, which I think Batman 400. I want to say.
Yeah.
You have the Superman Muhammad Ali, which is one of my favorites. I think I have like 4 of the Treasury editions of that one. It's just every time I see it, I grab it if it's a reasonable price, and they keep on going up in value too, which is crazy. But Neil Adams is amazing. There's a couple of his books or Superman books. There's one where Supergirl's like you only see her from the waist down. She dropped the city of Kandor, right? And
Yeah.
Superman's in background. He's like, oh, freaking out, doing the classic pose and everything. And I picked that up. It's not worth that much money, but it's a beautiful cover by Neil Adams. Look, the guy is super nice. I met him at a con a couple years ago. I got some books signed by him. I have a Dead Man book signed by him. I have my lithograph for Superman versus Muhammad Ali signed by him.
I need that.
He passed on. You know, he was
Yep.
a couple years ago. He was an old man, and you know, the Father Time is the only undefeated champion of all. You know, he passed on, and his art is beloved, guys. If you find a Neil Adams book, just pick it up. Man, it's you got to get it.
I actually met him at a con as well, man. It was Montreal Comic Con, and he was there signing stuff. And I unfortunately didn't have a Neil Adams book with me at the time that he was there, but he had no lineup. Could you imagine there was a time in comics when there was barely any lines for such artists, and
Yeah.
Neil Adams was just sitting there. He was like drawing away, doing his thing, and I ended up buying a poster. I don't know if you see, there's posters up here. That is ASM issue number 1. It's an exclusive that he had done for an LCS here. It was I forget what the shop was called. I think it was Expert Comics, and I bought the poster and he signed it, and I chopped it up with him for about a good 20 minutes. It was just talking with Neil Adams about comics in general, and it was just a great time. And then he passed shortly after that. It was just crazy timing.
Yeah.
But I agree with you.
He and Stan Lee, it wasn't that far between them.
Exactly.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. It was, very, very close. But guys, those were the books that made the market list for this week. Now, we have a very, very short Hot Topics portion of the show. So we're going to get into that. And then, well, Chris, you unfortunately have no choice because you have been summoned by Alex to
okay. All right. I'm ready.
Do some wicked tricks for us. So we'll get into the Hot Topics very quickly. Like I said, we're going to rapid fire these because I'm more curious now about the yo-yo skills. But Daniel Craig set to enter James Gunn's DCU as Sergeant Rock. Now, that's pretty big news, in my opinion. Sergeant Rock making his way to the James Gunn universe. Now, he was created by Joe Kubert and Robert Kanigher, and first debuted in G.I. Combat issue 68, though he wasn't officially named until our Army at War issue 81, several months later. Rock was the most popular character featured in the Army-focused comic, so much so that our Army at War was retitled Sergeant Rock and stayed that way until the book's cancellation in 1988. Sergeant Rock and his stories were largely contained in the World War II era, but Sergeant Rock was a part of the DC universe all the same, even leading an early incarnation of Task Force X. Now, I want Sergeant Rock in the James Gunn universe so much. I really do. And I didn't realize I did until this announcement came. I think, wouldn't it be awesome to see a war comic movie?
Yeah, I definitely think it would. Okay, so 83, right? Our Army at War 83. It's an amazing cover. It's got it's Joe Kubert's first Sergeant Rock and the first Sergeant Rock, and Joe Kubert was known for Sergeant Rock for decades. I think the series went all the way into the 70s, if not a little bit later. This is one of those classic characters that never really got its due. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't see any references to Sergeant Rock in today's comics, like at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's a shame. I think that there's a place for him somehow, some way.
I agree.
I also am a little confounded why they wouldn't get The Rock to play Sergeant Rock.
I see what you did. Because we don't want to see the Rock.
Yeah, I know. It's it's interesting. This should be interesting to see how it's handled and see the way it's done. I could see it going really, really good, and I could also see it like being really bad. So
yeah. Well, I know Daniel Craig's gonna have to up his chest hair game if he really wants to pull this one off. But yeah, I like I said, I think we're due for a type of movie. Look, I don't get me wrong, I enjoy movies. If anything, probably the most being along the lines of Captain America: Winter Soldier. Right? We all embrace that, but an actual war movie, I think, would be absolutely insane. Getting to see Sergeant Rock in full force on the big screen would be great. If he could have his own solo movie, I don't know if it would hit for the general audience, but who knows, right? I have said it before. I had colleagues at work talking about the Penguin over on HBO because they just love the show, right?
oh man, we haven't even had a chance to talk about the Penguin yet. Oh my god, the way that ended.
But all this to say is that if they make a Sergeant Rock movie as a standalone, why not, man? I think that would be absolutely wicked.
Maybe it'll be like an HBO special or something like that. Maybe it's not a movie. Maybe it's like an HBO special.
Yeah.
And they do kind of like a Saving Private Ryan sort of storyline.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we can get Haunted Tank. I think that'd be too wacky, but
That would be wicked.
It'd be really weird.
You're not entirely wrong. But anyways, let's keep it rolling because we also got some other news. Yes, I saw this over at Covrprice first, so here you go. Alan Tudyk, sorry?
Tudyk.
Tudyk, there you go, is bringing his Clayface to the DCU via the upcoming Creature Commandos animated series, so that's going to be fun. With James Gunn saying that the animated voices would also play their live-action counterparts, will we see him play Clayface in movies as well? So that's a great question. Although I will say for myself, Clayface is not a character I've ever paid attention to. I know that, there's been multiple characters as Clayface, right?
Yeah, there's been multiple people have played, multiple people in the Batman universe have been a Clayface.
Exactly.
The best one is probably the Batman animated series version of Clayface.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that is, that same style is the one that's currently in the DC universe right now. Adam Turk is an amazing actor. His skills are, superb. I think that he brings something to every character he plays that's a little bit unique. I remember him in, Firefly and the Serenity movie, and just absolutely loving it. I would enjoy this. I'll enjoy this.
Yeah, if we got him hopping over into live action.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, this is a CGI character, so you might as well just have the voice be the same anyway.
Exactly. So I think it would work. I think it would be great. I'd love to see it. Like I said, Clayface is a character I've mostly known through television shows, right? Not entirely within comics. I didn't follow much of it. Like I said, I do know multiple characters have been Clayface at some point in time.
Yeah, like the first iteration of Clayface, he wasn't even like a clay monster. He was just a dude with, a mask.
But anyways, I would love to see this, so we shall see. But let's keep it rolling because apparently Kevin Feige says a new age of mutants is on the horizon, and Avengers Secret Wars really leads us into a new age of mutants and of the X-Men. Now, I think it goes without saying it's already anticipated. It's not news to us, but it's clear as day that the mutants is going to be the next phase of the MCU post Secret Wars, right? That's probably going to be the main focus.
Let's just do it already.
Right?
I'm so tired of waiting.
Exactly. But I am happy to hear more and more talk about it because we are getting characters popping up here and there, as you can see, Beast within the Marvels and
Yeah.
etc. So it's looking more and more like this is going to be the main focus. Although I will say it's not just here where we're seeing main focus because there's also talks about this, guys. Apparently, we're getting more Nova stuff coming out, and it's apparently going to be a key project to kick off the next MCU saga. The upcoming phase will focus on the cosmic side, exploring new realms beyond anything we've seen. So you're looking at a few things that they're looking to do. We know that Nova is going to be more on a TV side, meaning Disney Plus. It's not going to be a movie, right? But I really continue to hope for Annihilation. It's the only thing that really makes sense to me when it comes to cosmic stuff. One of the biggest battles, cosmic wise, when it comes to Nova and multiple other characters as well. Silver Surfer, we're starting to see these characters come to life now within the MCU. It almost feels like it's going to make the most sense. I really believe Annihilus on the big screen would be fucking menacing, dude.
Yeah, it's hard because the casual fans don't really get into the cosmic Marvel stuff. You know, the casual fans, the ones that buy tickets to movies, they're the ones who are spending the money on the toys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the mass quantity of the public, right? They're into the core names, the Iron Man, Captain America, X-Men, those types of things, right? They want the core characters, the things that they watched on Saturday morning cartoons,
Yeah.
basically, right? Guardians of the Galaxy is for sure the exception, and those movies did really well, and they were handled really well, with the exception of well, basically the last one. But
dude, it was heart wrenching, that movie.
yeah, I didn't like the way that Marvel was handled.
I agree, but I will say that the villain was probably the most menacing villain we've seen
Yeah,
within the MCU since Thanos.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Nova always kind of struck me like the Nova Corps was always kind of like Marvel's version of the Green Lantern Corps, but with less constructs and more punching. So it'll be interesting. You know, you got space cops and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, we shall see. But two more topics to bring up, guys. Apparently, and this is pretty big in my opinion, but Hasbro is apparently no longer financing movies. And I could understand why. Thanks to a string of flops, Hasbro isn't putting money down on movies based on their IPs. Any future movies will be left to external studios to fund exclusively. Now, Hasbro is going to continue to prioritize video and card games. In a new report, it is learned that Hasbro is moving away from concentrating on movies and is now going to focus on the digital route. So there's the video game that I saw over on PlayStation just this weekend. GI Joe, and there's a GI Joe game that's coming out. It's kind of weird. It's like 8-bit and like side scrolling type thing. And then you got Dungeons and Dragons, which I think, without saying, Hasbro will also be further expanding its popular Magic brand. Now, Magic is a monster, an absolute monster. But things are apparently so bad that the company has had to lay off over 1,000 employees and is considering moving its headquarters out of its longtime home in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, to Boston. So
yeah, so this is interesting. So I started playing Magic in '93. I'm a Alpha Beta Unlimited player. I've been playing ever since, off and on. I still collect the cards and I buy them and I sell them on TCG Player. And same thing with other card games. But Magic is Magic. That is the core card game, really. Yeah. And when Hasbro acquired Wizards of the Coast, quite a while ago, it was kind of like a big gasp to the whole Magic community because they're like, oh, what are they going to do? They're going to ruin it, right? And a lot of the Universes Beyond stuff that Magic is currently doing, that's how they're bringing in, the Marvel characters. They brought in the Walking Dead characters. All of these, they did a Lord of the Rings and Warhammer. This is all part of the Universes Beyond stuff that's kind of like parallel. If this IP was in Magic, this is what it would look like. And fans have been doing that for decades, right?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that over the last couple years, Magic the Gathering attributed to like 70% of Hasbro's earnings.
No
They
kidding.
were losing money on everything
Yep.
except Magic. And so they ended up doubling down, and they ended up releasing more sets and more sets and more Universes Beyond and more Commander sets and stuff like that. And now the Magic community on the whole is kind of like, you choked out my wallet. I've got nothing else to buy here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go casual. I'm just going to play casual Commander. And there was a big, blowback. And now they're just starting to slowly build back up for that with a few lessons learned. But still, Magic is the greatest IP money wise for Hasbro.
Yeah.
Now, this whole report of them leaning away from concentrating on movies, that's actually good, because
Correct.
that means that they're going to be willing to license their IPs away for movies, and they'll have less control on movies. And I got to be honest, Hasbro movies are not good. They're not good, because it's a company that makes board games, that makes card games, and makes toys, and they're trying to turn movies into product commercials, right? And it's failing. The last Power Ranger movie was really, really rough. The last GI Joe movie was hard to sit through. Dungeons and Dragons was okay, but really just okay.
I thought they all sucked, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, fuck, Transformers sucked.
Yeah, I haven't enjoyed a Transformers movie since the 1986 original animated
No
Transformers.
kidding.
That's just me.
Do we want to talk Snake Eyes? No.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's so many missteps, and the only reason why Hasbro's even still around is because of Magic the Gathering. So fine, if they want to focus on their video games and their products, that's fine. License out their IPs. Go ahead and license them out. You don't need a Hasbro verse. Okay, too many companies are making their own verses. Just go ahead, license those things out. Get a Magic the Gathering movie or HBO or Netflix series going, but don't have Hasbro involved, other than just making sure that it matches the canon. Let's see a real GI Joe movie made by directors and fans who care about that IP. Let's see Dungeons and Dragons go back to its roots. Let's see a Power Rangers movie like we've never seen before, without the shackles that Hasbro puts on it. Them leaning away tells me that they are willing to license out their IPs.
Yeah, and you're spot on. Now, I saw Gabe mention Battleship. I actually didn't get to watch that.
The movie Battleship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I don't feel so bad for
it. Was exhausting.
But I agree with you. This is great news. In fact, like, it's they're hemorrhaging money at this point. So just nip it in the butt, hand it off, and let's get it done right. I couldn't agree with you more. So that's great news. Now, the last thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you guys caught this, but Jonathan Majors' ex-girlfriend settles assault and defamation lawsuit. Ouch. According to court documents filed on Thursday, November 21st, and obtained by People magazine, Jabari filed a stipulation of dismissal with prejudice. Majors and Jabari agreed via their attorneys that all claims against defendant in the above captioned action are hereby dismissed with prejudice. That, dude, I read this and I'm like, this poor guy just got completely axed from the MCU, from Hollywood, basically, right? And to get to this point, and it's questioning. I'm sorry. To each their own. I do not condone any abusiveness on either side of relationships, guys. I know most people will immediately say, "Yeah, but the man hitting the woman, blah blah." It goes both ways, right? Like, you've seen some crazies come out on the other side too when it comes, especially in this situation. Like, it was all over the place. But besides the point, coming this far into everything that has happened and now settling in such a way, the guy got chopped out of the MCU. Now, we'll talk MCU in just a second. I almost feel bad, but I don't feel bad, because there's still story behind that, right? Like there's things that we don't know that happened behind the scenes between the two parties, but now dropped by the MCU. Could it have been a blessing in disguise because people weren't fully embracing the Kang stuff, especially the casual fans?
It's a shame because I thought Jonathan Majors did an amazing job as King.
I agree.
I really enjoyed the Kang character and the way that all the variants and everything. I was a huge fan, and when I heard about this, I was frustrated because I didn't hear it corroborated by anybody except for Jabari, right? And to see that the claims were dismissed with prejudice. With prejudice is a legal term that means that they can never be filed again,
Exactly.
ever, right? And that's not usually given to somebody who's guilty, right? That's usually something that's, maybe both parties went too far, that kind of thing. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and I can't say that I've paid very close attention to this. And I also will not, demand that every actor or actress on the TV screen have a perfect past. I mean, look at Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
He went through a lot of things before he became Iron Man, and
Perfect
now
example,
right? And then you also look at other people like Johnny Depp, who was beloved and went through these terrible things and all these weird things, and now he's, a non-desirable or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors thing is interesting. I don't know if he was being abusive. If he was being abusive, then I'm glad that it's resolved.
Same.
And I hope that he doesn't reoffend. If he wasn't being abusive and he was a victim of somebody who was, trying to get their money, then I feel really bad for him. But I don't know. I don't know which one. I will say that as a man, my biggest fear is being accused of abuse, because I go out of my way to never put myself in a situation
Of course,
where that's even possible. I mean, I won't even be alone in a room with a female who's not my wife, not because I'm afraid I will do something.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression.
And it is sad as a man to even think that way, because to feel that way, right? Because unfortunately, you kind of feel like that's the world. I work along females. I'll be completely transparent, very attractive as well. But by no means would I ever cross that line, because immediately you already know it's a losing battle. I would never do the same either. I'll give you guys full transparency backstory. My wife was going through tons of shit as such when she was a child. My mother-in-law, etc. So no, that is an absolute no. But regarding Jonathan Majors' case, we saw the MCU now shift and pivot towards Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Had this never happened, we'd probably still be within the Kang Dynasty, guys. We would still be headed towards Secret Wars with Jonathan Majors leading this. So this pivoted the MCU in such a huge way. The second it was announced he was found guilty, he was dropped within seconds.
There's part of this, though, is that something I don't understand, and I don't. Okay, so a couple things. First, I want to go on record and say that it is very important to believe the victim. Okay, I think that's extremely important. Victims come from all corners, from all kinds, from all backgrounds, and often they are subjected to the most terrible things that that alter their perspective on what is real and what is not real. And it is very important to believe victims or people who claim they are victims. Everybody deserves to be heard. I feel that very strongly. So I wanted to put that on record there, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm dismissing any of the abuse that, you know, Jonathan Majors was convicted of, and I believe this was the civil case. But you know, he obviously did something, and that's a shame. And I don't condone that at all. I believe that in any relationship and between, you know, a man and a woman, respect is the number one thing, and, you know, body autonomy. Everybody has, you know, their own body that is theirs, and nobody else has ownership of it. So I believe that. I believe it strongly. Now, I will say that it's interesting, though, that, you know, I know they got deep in with Jonathan Majors and Kang. They went through the multiple movies and the TV series, and then they dropped the character, it seems like. But why didn't they just recast Kang? You know, I don't think it was because of Jonathan Majors. I think that they were just feeling that the story was too complicated.
Yeah,
and that's why they pulled back, which is a shame because I love the Kang storyline. I dig it. I would have loved to see the big Kang verse, even if you would have dropped another actor in there. I mean, War Machine was originally played by somebody else, right?
Not Cheeto. Well, Cheeto's the one who replaced.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's the one who's the current War Machine, but the previous one I don't remember. But it was somebody else, right? And they just recast it. So, you know, I think you could have seen the same thing here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't disagree with you. Like I said, it was the final nail in the coffin for them to pivot. They already felt it. They for sure had it in mind, and then we got the full blown pivot. But I saw this and I thought it was very interesting, especially considering everything that came about this after the fact. And I totally stand by what you said. Both sides don't condone, and it's just a sad story all around. But anyways, let's not end on a sad note, guys, because that's the end of the show. But somebody owes us a little something. That's right.
All right. You guys want to see some comic? I need some music, Lando. I'm sure you got something you can queue up, right?
I'll get you some music here. Okay. Let's find something. I'll probably get a copyright strike, but I don't give a shit because this is totally worth it. Let's go. Here, I'm putting you this. We're gonna get some.
There we go.
Here we go. Hold on. I got some Tiesto for you. This is wild. I think I found my new intro video, guys. Let's go. Does it light up? Holy shit. That is insane.
Let's see if I can end on a high note.
Here we go. Oh my god. That's sick.
There you go. Alex, I hope that you got your money's worth.
That was nuts. Okay, I can't even like roll it down properly and bring it back up, but that was absolutely amazing, dude. You weren't kidding.
Yeah, I've been yo-yoing since I was like 10 years old. I've been doing it my whole life. During my last couple years of high school, I was performing, and then after high school, I was actually touring Southern California. I did schools. I did like store openings and stuff like that. I managed a store at the Irvine Spectrum Mall that sold nothing but yo-yos. And I was really big into it. And I got the name Dr. Yo-Yo when I was working at a store. It was you know what Spencer Gifts is, right?
Yes.
So Spencer Gifts used to have two alternate stores, one called Glow, where everything glowed in the dark. If that doesn't scream 90s, I don't know what does. But the other one was called Dappy. And Dappy is where I first started, like, you know, showing publicly the yo-yo skills and stuff like that, because I was working at Dappy in the late 90s. And yo-yos were just starting to come back, right? And the rule at Dappy was always be demoing. So I knew how to yo-yo, so I picked up a yo-yo, and I would just be doing that constantly. And soon, our store had like the #1 sales nationwide because people knew that, oh, that's where the yo-yo guy works and stuff like that. And people were coming from all over. It was really crazy and really cool. And then somebody came in because I always had strings and extra bearings because the Omega Raiders kids would open them up and they would lose their bearing, and so I always had extra bearings and stuff like that, and extra string. So kids would bring me their yos and I would fix them, right? And this mom came in with her Boy Scout troop, and they were in full regalia and everything, and they're like, "Hey, we're looking for Dr. Yo-Yo. Do you know where he is?" And I'm like, I you mean Dr. Yo? He's in San Francisco. He's a dentist. His name's Tom Kuhn. He said, no. The guy who works here who fixes yo-yos. I said, well, that's me. I'm the one who works here who fixes yo-yos. Well, you're Dr. Yo-Yo. And that's how I got the name Dr. Yo-Yo.
Yo, we just got the origin story. We got a performance.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So that's how the name happened. And it's just been something I've held on to since then. I think we're going on like 28, 29 years, something like that. Some crazy.
That guy came in the shop not knowing he birthed the origin story of Dr. Yo-Yo for Chris. Amazing. Chris, before I let you go and we say bye to the chat, and by the way, the chat was loving that. I don't know if you see the comments. Alex, thank you so much for bringing this to life for us tonight. But Chris, this is the exact reason why I wanted you on the show, because over on Covrprice, everybody gets to see you talk comics, and it's in and out. Tonight, I feel like we got to know you. You know what I mean? And I think,
thank you, Lando.
And I think all of you are blessed to get to know this guy, because I was, and having got to meet him, I'm so grateful that everyone else is getting the opportunity to do the same as well tonight by getting to know you for who you are. The Yo-Yo Master, the very informative comic whiz, just great person. Yes, I see the chat from Amity about the Andre the Giant behind you. He's a huge wrestling fan. But guys, please, do me a favor. In the description of the video, you'll see his handle is there for Instagram. Go follow him over on Instagram. He posts some great things. He did some wonderful stuff with Marty and Gabe and everyone else that's part of the Lords of the Long Box for the month of October, posting Halloween covers. He posts great comics, great information, and he's easy to reach. Just DM him. He'll happily respond to you. So
yeah, I mean, I love talking with people on Instagram. You can just reach out to me, and I sell a lot of things too. I mean, I'm not trying to shill my store, but I buy things usually at garage sales and flea markets and thrift stores, and I sell them online. And a lot of comics too over on Hip Comics. So if you go to my Instagram, in the bio section, there's a link tree. Click on that link tree. Go to Hip Comics for the rest of November, which is only 6 days, right? I'm offering 40% off of anything in the Hip Comics store, and if you have more than $50 before the discount, you'll get free shipping. And I have thousands and thousands of comics up there, ranging from $1 or $2 up to $50, $60. I even have some slabs on there. So go check it out over on Hip Comics. If you need the link, go to my Instagram and you can get it off the link tree. And then eBay and TCG Player, same thing. I'm not doing a big sale there, but on eBay, if you use Dr. Yo-Yo as a coupon code, you get 15% off.
There you go, man. That's cool. I didn't even know that, and I talk to you very often, dude. So
well, I try not to plug the store too much on the Covrprice Thursday shows because it's their company. But I mean, I'll plug it on your show.
There you go. There you go, man. This is an open platform for everybody to come hang out, talk comics. So, Chris, I appreciate you doing exactly that tonight. What do you have upcoming for yourself, sir, this week?
Oh, we got some family coming over. I mean, I got Thursday night off because there's no show, right? So basically got some family coming over. My daughter's here from college. She goes to Salisbury University. Don't be weird. Don't stalk her. I'm talking to you, chat. So she's home for the week, and we're excited to see her because I love my kids. Yep. I'm just a proud dad, and I'm going to do proud dad things this week.
That's the way to do it. So, guys, to the American family, you heard it here first. Unfortunately, there is no Shakers show this week simply because it is Thanksgiving. So, please, to my American family south of the border, all of you, Nat, Chris, everybody, enjoy Thanksgiving. Spend the time with your family. It's well deserved. There's no show. So, I hope that tonight with Chris gave you a little bit of that fix that you're going to be missing on Thursday. If you miss us on Thursday, come back, catch the replay, or check out Covrprice's YouTube.
And Lando, as the American on the show, I feel it necessary to thank you and Canada for being America's hat.
Absolutely. Chapeau, sir. Chapeau, always. But guys, chat, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're catching the replay, drop a comment below. Let us know what you thought of the show, whether it be market report, the FOC picks, or the hot topics, or most importantly, guys, his yo-yo skills that were on display.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm just going to say right here, right now, the kids who are yo-yoing right now, they know what they're doing. I'm a rusty old man. My skills are nothing compared to theirs.
Nah,
I'm just
bullshit. Chris, I'm saving that video. That is going to be used at some point somewhere. I'm just letting you know. But all right. Guys, have yourselves a great week. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will catch you on Sunday again. Adios.